When women dare to fully be themselves, to rise up as the divine beings they are, to operate in their magic, their sexuality, their power, they are always labeled one thing: wicked.
Wicked is a podcast for women who dare to walk in their true identity, power, and magic, who go against societal culture of being seen and not heard, who are the black sheep and powerhouses the structure tries to defeat. And here is your shepherd leading you astray, Mystic.
Hi, ladies and some gentlemen. Welcome back to Wicked. So in this episode, I want to talk about our emotions. You know, the things that women tend to feel an abundance of and we constantly get, harassed for. I get really sick and tired of hearing all the time how, women are so emotional. They're so much more emotional than men. And I've been doing a lot of observing lately, of course, on social media. Also, just in my day-to-day. While yes, I do see that men tend to be more thought-based, I disagree in the fact that women are more emotional. Just because we tend to express our emotion in a certain way doesn't mean that we are more emotional. We as women get this held against us a lot. And what it turns into is us repressing our emotions, and it comes out as physical sickness in our body a lot. Or we shame ourselves for feeling the way we do. I can't tell you how many people that I've done consultations with or in my mentorship program, how many women, have said to me, this is the first time I've cried in years. You've gotten me to cry. I always feel like being strong is the absence of crying and I'm finally letting it all out. This has happened countless times, especially people who come and get sessions with me using vulture medicine, because that's all about releasing and letting go and removing the dead waste in the body. And man, I always think about what that would be like to not cry for years, and where is this coming from? Why do we feel like being strong is an absence of tears or something? And we get this from patriarchy. And I feel like this is also where men get negatively affected by patriarchy. Y'all, I cry all the time. I don't think a week has gone by where I haven't cried over something. Why not? We have tear ducts. Crying is cleansing to me. Even if a situation isn't that bad or I don't know, it's not things go wrong every week for me and that everything's terrible, but it's nice to release through water coming from my eyes. I always get so shocked when people are like, no, I want to be strong. I don't want to cry. That ain't strength, honey. You're missing out. You're missing out on a good cleansing. And I feel it's funny because I hear women say a lot, he's so in touch with his emotions. He even cried in front of me, because it's so rare to see men cry. I feel bad for them, man. I feel bad that we've gotten to a place in society where we've conditioned men so much that they're a crybaby if they cry. Right, you say that when you're a little boy to little boys, don't cry about it. Don't act like a girl, right? Don't be a little girl. Don't be a pussy. And it's this thing with teaching men in order to be hard, they shouldn't ever use their tear ducts. I don't know, very odd. So, there's a lot of repressed energies there in men as well. But this podcast is for women's, so I'm not going to be touching on that. So, women being the more emotional one. And what is this girl's name? Oh, yes, Pick Me Pearl. I'm sure you guys have seen her floating around the tic-tac. Tic-tac-toe, as Nancy Pelosi says. And this girl's, it's got to be an act. I'm sorry. If y'all haven't seen her, you can look her up. But I'm pretty sure it's got to be an act just to get, views, because if you post stuff on purpose to get people, it's like rage bait, you'll definitely go viral. I can't believe that a person actually talks this way. But, I heard her saying this thing on one of the TikToks about how women can't lead. There shouldn't be a woman president because women can't lead because they're too emotional, and something about them getting their periods. And I was laughing because I'm like, oh my God, I remember hearing people say this when I was young, in church. I remember sitting there, I think I was 9 or 10, and I remember this old bald fucking receding hairline man saying how all women should have long hair and they should dress a certain way, and then talking about how women can't be presidents because they're too emotional. And I think it was back maybe, I don't know, I don't remember. No, because I was so young. I don't remember if there was talk of a woman. It would probably be Hillary Clinton, if anybody, right? But I don't know what was going on and why that was being brought up. But just talking about how women can't lead, and why women shouldn't be pastors of churches, and why it needs to be men, and all this stuff about how women are too emotional to make decisions. And that always stuck with me. And when I'm little, I'm believing this, right? Because at that age, you just kind of believe whatever your parents say is truth. Because why would mom and dad lie? So then you get older and you start deconstructing your beliefs, and I'm just why? That always kind of stuck with me. What is this thing about women being too emotional that we can't lead? And so that was actually something, when things like that stick in your head and it comes embedded in your unconscious, you have to work through that when you're supposed to be in a position of leadership. So if you're somebody listening to this and you know that you're being called to leadership, or you already are in a position of leadership somewhere in your job, in your life, whatever, and you heard stuff like that growing up, you need to deconstruct that, because that is going to be in your unconscious mind, and there's going to be constant manifestation by your shadow self, by your unconscious self, to bring that about, certain things about in your life, so that you don't lead, so that you don't step into leadership, because there's a belief hidden in the back of your mind that you can't because you're a woman and too emotional. So when we look at our society today that is run by patriarchy and is run by men, I kind of feel the opposite, right? That women aren't the over emotional ones making bad decisions. So, I've seen men fly off the handle. Men may not cry, but that repressed emotion turns into anger. And I mean, generally it's not women who punch walls, okay, when they're getting in arguments. It's usually the men that do that. Domestic violence is at an all-time high right now. I was looking through the records in our area, in my area. And it's, it's rare that the ass beating's coming from the woman. It does happen, but it's rare. Violent crimes. Do you know that the stats for violent crimes right now is getting majorly skewed because men are claiming that they are women, and that's allowed in some areas? So now there's skewed like the numbers are all fucked up when it comes to saying like, are women creating more violent crimes? So they're saying that like, yeah, this is on the rise, but they're also not factoring in that there's men that upon conviction are saying that they identify as women. Oh, and are also getting put into female prisons, but we're not going to get into that story. Also, if you actually look at our country right now and how our country has gone into shambles, this is all done by men. And wars are all fought by men. I mean, you can say our wars are whatever and it's for freedom, like you can say whatever, but let's face it, it's about drugs, oil, and money. And it's like, basically, it's like a bunch of dudes being like, nah, you have too much oil, I want some. And they throw a fit. And because men have access to weapons, they're like, fine, I'm going to send my friends over to your house to shoot you and take it back. And it's like kids, like, acting, like it's like toddlers. I can't see women acting this way. I can't. And I don't understand why we feel like women are more emotional than men. It's just that we act differently. We act differently with our emotions. Men tend to go the more violent, rageful way. Women tend to just cry. I mean, that don't hurt nobody, right? What do we do? Write in our journal? Oh boy. But because we allow our emotion to pass through us in that way, we're able to release it from our bodies. And as, you know, if you're listening to this and you're not doing any of that because you're trying to be like hardened or you're trying to like submit to this form of patriarchy that, you know, you don't want to be too emotional and show your emotions because, you know, that's not good. It's going to come out in your physical body somehow because your body has to release it. Emotions are a very beautiful thing. And I feel like humans are afraid of their emotion and don't know how to deal with it. And most of our suffering in life comes from wanting to, like, it. Most of the I'll say it this way, most of the negative emotions that we feel is being cultivated and comes from us trying to run from suffering, which is an emotion. So I feel that emotions are very, very vast. And I feel as humans, we are very, very, very lucky to experience them. And even more so as a woman, we are able to experience a depth of emotion that I don't believe men get to experience. I think men are conditioned differently from the moment they step foot on this earth. They are conditioned differently. I also, too, believe it has a lot to do with the hormonal makeup of men and women. I believe that, you know, men are more solar beings and their hormones reflect that. And I don't believe they can go as deep and vast into the emotional waters as we can, being lunar. And I think that just scares men, you know. No, I don't want, I'm not going to say this every podcast, not all men. Okay. Yeah. Not all men. But it scares the patriarchy because they can't comprehend it, right? We are a mystery, right? We're a medical mystery to all the physicians. They come up with weird shit and diagnose us with weird shit and then tell us like stupid things like our cervix doesn't have nerve endings and I don't know, just a bunch of weird shit, right? They just make it up as they go along. We're like medical mysteries. We're psychological mysteries. They tell us, I mean, even in like the 40s and 50s, they were giving women lobotomies. Like, come on. And now we don't do that, but what do? You get put on like Lexapro and shit. You're constantly being told to be put on these like mind-altering drugs so that you are emotionless. And it's because we have such a vastness that we can experience. And I think it's important as a woman to take advantage of that. You're only living half of your female existence if you're trying to avoid emotions at all costs. I have always been somebody who has gone on extreme ends of the spectrum with emotions. And no, I'm not bipolar. It's just that when I am in a sad state, I go way deep into that sadness. I want to feel every last drop of that fucking sadness. And I go deep. I don't just skim the surface and let out a little cry because I don't want to face it. I will dive into that motherfucking ocean and go to the bottom of it because I want to feel the vastness of it. And when I am happy and blissed out of my mind, I want to go to the highest highs of that as well. And as a natural like instinct of humans, we don't want to go into the deep waters of the vast sadness. We want to avoid that at all costs. But running from that darkness isn't going to put you into the light, because you're just going to keep like running in a circle. It's like running on a treadmill, really. Running from that isn't going to put you into the light, isn't going to put you into bliss. Because the more and more you try to avoid that depth of emotion in the ocean, of the sadness or the melancholy or whatever it is that you're experiencing, things may actually get worse. Most of our stress and anxiety comes from rejection of what currently is, because we think that things should be playing out in a certain way, and it's not. Those of you that have listened to the last few episodes, in my life, it definitely did not go to plan, okay? But in that situation, I'm glad I'm a little bit like freer in the podcast now to talk about this now that things are settling. In that situation, if there was any resistance on my end, it would get worse. The anxiety would get worse. The depression would get worse. The sadness would get worse. Everything would just get fucking worse because I was resisting what was happening. Because I didn't want it to happen. This was not in the fucking plan. It's not what I had planned. Okay? So this is an adult version of a temper tantrum. Like, those of you that get mad when your children are like, quote unquote, overreacting to something and throwing themselves on the floor, and like Zion likes to headbutt shit. He'll headbutt the ground. He'll headbutt the couch. He'll headbutt his brother. He'll headbutt me. He's a goat. What do you expect? So when he's goating it out or whatever, I just let him go with it. I don't interrupt him. I don't tell him not to do it. Like, if I wouldn't get arrested for doing that shit, I'd fucking do it too. But I would end up in a straitjacket in a mental hospital. So we have to do it different as adults, right? But I think toddler temper tantrums are so triggering to us is because they're doing what we can't, and we low-key jealous. So we do it in different ways, right? So we throw these like temper tantrums, like, no, like this can't be happening. This isn't what was in my plan, right? And then sometimes we try to reverse what's going on because we don't want it to happen, and we try to like take control back of the situation, which just puts more stress and tension on it. Because, we want everything to go our way, and we want it to happen on 2-day prime. We're very trained to be this way. But so even like I was constantly reminding myself in that situation when my entire life was fucking falling apart, every last fucking drop, brick, everything of my life falling to fucking pieces. I had to just keep allowing, and I had to tell myself, just allow this to happen. Keep allowing it. Don't resist it, just keep allowing it. Every time I felt tension building up in my body, and I would feel it in my shoulders and my chest, I would take a deep breath and I would be like, let it go. Just allow it. That alone, you guys, when you're going through a situation that is not according to your plan, just allow it. Allow the universe to take it. Allow whatever. But also allow yourself to feel what you need to feel as you're going through it. What is this illusion that you're supposed to be happy all the time? That was invented by drug companies to sell their drugs. Are you experiencing highs and lows? Well, yeah, because I'm fucking human. Do you feel sad all the time? Well, yeah, because you work a shit office job and you never get fresh air and you fucking eat corn dogs every day. Vending machine fucking Fritos. Yeah, you're fucking depressed. When's the last time you went and like fucking frolicked in a field and picked an apple? Instead you're getting vending machine shit? Yeah, you're depressed. Like, people weren't made for that. Instead of sunlight, you're like under those like fluorescent lighting. Yeah, you're depressed. You're sad. A pill. So now you take a pill to fit into that system. So you stop having emotion. You're becoming a numbed out AI robot. Is that what you want? I hope not, especially not as a woman, because you have the blessing to be able to feel so deep. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And you can't be afraid to allow yourself to feel. Like, why are you afraid? What do you think's going to happen if you just let yourself cry? Do you think you're never going to stop? Do you think if you finally give in to the sadness that you're accepting depression and that you're saying it's okay and you're just going to be depressed forever? Because no, because the longer you resist the sadness, the more you're going to be running from it, and the longer it's going to linger, just waiting for you to experience it. When you allow and give yourself permission to feel your anxiety, to feel your pain, to feel your suffering, you will have peace. You will still be sad. You will still feel suffering. You will still be depressed, but you'll have peace when you do it. And there's a big difference going through sadness while having peace and having sadness while resisting the sadness, because then you're in a constant state of stress and fight or flight. Allowing helps to kind of move you out of that fight or flight. And removing the fear of the emotion will help you remove the fear of the situation. And yeah, you're probably like, yeah, easier said than done. Try it. Try it. What do you have to lose? Tears? Why are you so afraid to do that? That's another thing that needs to be deconstructed here. Why are you so afraid to show the emotion? Probably, yeah, okay, in childhood, blah, blah, blah. We all have childhood shit. I mean, you can't hate your parents forever, okay? Like, you can't. Everybody, my kids are going to have issues. They're going to be from me. They're going to be from their fathers, whatever. Like, you can't come on this planet and not have some kind of like jacked up shit from your parents at some point. We're human beings here, you know. It's just part of the plan of being here. But the fact that we are humans and that we get to feel emotion to the extent of crying, and we get to feel all of these depths, like animals don't do that. Like, I've never seen a vulture crying in the corner, like depressed about the roadkill it just saw. No, it's out there fucking eating it. Like, I've never seen like even a dog. Like, yes, dogs actually do get sad and all of that, but like, I mean, not to the extent that humans do. Like, we are very special that we get to experience what we experience. And a lot of times the dogs are taking on the energy of the humans, right? That's why like dogs tend to act like their owners. there's also this aspect, and I want to give you another way to look at this. The energy that is involved in the other end of the spectrum of the sadness, the depression, the anxiety, all of that. There's a part of you, and I mentioned this in the Shadow podcast, which I think was the one I did. Yeah, it was this last one, right? That likes it. Oh, I know. You are like, why would you say that? I don't like to be sad. I don't like to be depressed. Yeah, you do. You just haven't admitted it yet. Yep. You were in the closet about it, even to your own self. I remember, and I think I may have told this story before. Like, I remember when I realized that I really just enjoy my depression when I have it. I write really good poetry. Like, I come up with really good images in my head for art, but I can't draw, so it just stays in my fucking head. And I don't know. I just realized it. I remember the moment, like, you know what? I actually get off on this. I really enjoy just so sad. And you can do that. Anybody can do that, okay? When you stop telling yourself a story about what your emotion is. Because when you remove the storyline from it, the storyline gives you your ego satisfaction, because it allows you to be a victim and it allows you to feel separate from everybody else, because it's your story and you're the one going through it, and your ego is fulfilled by being separate. This is me, this is my pain, this is my sadness, this is my story. Okay, awesome. Now your ego's fed, so let's move on. Now let's remove the story. Now you're just in this deep energy, right? That's bringing tears from your eyes, and it feels like this big, heavy emotion. But you can turn that into whatever you want. See, this is what divine feminine energy is. Divine feminine isn't just like frolicking in the field and going to your, $5,000 tool shed chicken coop and collecting the eggs and power washing it every Sunday. That's not it. Okay. This icky stuff that you don't want to deal with and you are running from, that's feminine energy. It's the other end of the spectrum of it. It's like our duty as women to feel the full spectrum. 'Cause that shadowy shit, the stuff that society shuns away, that's it. That's the good stuff. And that is potent creative energy. But only a few are really brave enough to dive into it. And you as a woman get to feel that vastness, but you're being conned out of it with pills. Take this, and that. You have problems. Like, your PMS, girl. Like, yes, before your period, do you have high anxiety? Yup. Do you have low tolerance? Yup. What is it showing you? All the things you need to shed out of your life that are actually causing you anxiety and pain and suffering. And because you're about to bleed, you're about to shed internally to the external, and it's telling you all this shit is affecting you and irritating the shit out of you, and you do it differently, and then you bleed, and then you're released, right? You're released from that anxiety. But do you do anything to change? Have you listened to her, aka your cycle? Have you listened to your blood tell you? That's your divine feminine in there. That's your inner goddess telling you what to shed. And then it does it physically for you, but then you just go about life, and then you get irritated by the same shit next month because you haven't cleared it out. And so again, she'll tell you, hey, this, and this is irritating the fuck out of you. Do something about it. Let's bleed together. Let's kill it. So she kills it and blood comes out. And then what? You do nothing. So again, the next month you're irritated by the same shit and you can't take it anymore. Why aren't you changing? Why are you literally repeating the same cycle? She's telling you, let's do our cycle different next time, blood. And you're like, but I should just take Zoloft instead and cover up the sadness that I have from being in a shitty relationship because I don't want to be alone and I'd rather just, stay. Oh, yeah, I'll just take the Xannies so that I can just stay at my shit job because it pays the bills and it pays for the mortgage of the house that I'm never in because I'm at work more than I'm at home. Okay? Your goddess is talking to you all the time. She talks to you through your emotions. So then you get on the pill, right? And now you have fake emotions. You have fake hormones in your body that are like basically giving you the same like hormonal makeup as like how a man's would look, like this like straight line and then a fake period. That's not even a real period. That's not even a real period. Did you know that? For those of you that are on the pill, those that 1 week you're off of the hormones, that's not even a real period. That's fake. So like you're not even like you're shutting up the goddess completely that's inside of you. And now she can't communicate with you through your emotions. And that's the most important part. This is how as women we communicate. Our inner goddess communicates with us through the emotions. And then we can decide what to do with that, what to create from that energy. Like I said, when I'm in those deep, vast, deep, dark, black ocean waters in my life, I turn that energy into creating stuff. I've had some of my best just breakthrough moments in life in those deep, deep waters. Like when I realize it's coming on through situations that are happening, there's that initial resistance because you don't want to go through it because, of course, it's not according to your plan and it's not what you had in store for the day. And it's like, shit, again, I got to go through this. But this is where a spiritual practice comes in. I say it constantly. I have no idea how people get through life without spirituality. What are y'all fucking doing? Like, what do you believe in at the end of the day? Like, just, yeah, life is just shit and then you die. Like, I don't know. I don't know how people get through that shit because, like, the way I just watched everything work out in my situation, holy shit. Like, holy shit. And the more I let go of control and didn't listen to a goddamn thing anybody told me, literally listened to nobody except my godmother. I listened to fucking nobody because it's like, people are telling me, well, you got to do this and you got to call this lawyer and you got to do this and you got to do that. And I'm just sitting here like, I don't got to do a goddamn thing. My intuition, my inner goddess is not feeling that. Because even in that, like, the depth of emotion, like, you can't fucking think straight because everything is just, when it's falling apart, like, you can't think. So you have to rely on your intuition and your emotion. Your brain is off fucking line. I was sleep deprived. I was like, there was nothing. My brain was not working. Okay. All the lion's mane in the world ain't gonna fix that. So especially when you have high cortisol levels, ladies, that will delete your memory. Oh, I'm gonna do a little plug here. Obviously not a sponsorship, but there's a supplement. There's a supplement that I randomly remembered that I used to sell in the shop. I remember I was laying in bed one day and I'm like, my memory, like, my brain is everything to me, guys. Like, my intelligence, like, I care about that more than fucking anything. And it was one of the reasons I almost didn't want to get pregnant because I knew my hormones were going to get fucked up. And like, it takes me about 3 years postpartum to feel like my brain is functioning normal again. And I was like, do I want to lose this? Like, I have my like brain working good again. Like, I just, I don't like feeling dumb. That's it. Like, I don't like feeling like my synapses aren't firing right. And so, I'm sitting here, I'm like, I can't remember the most basic shit. I can't finish trains of thought. I remember being on the network and doing like the energy updates or like trying to teach a class, and like if my mind would wander for even 1 second on something, I couldn't get my train of thought back. And it fucking, nothing bothers me more than that. So I was like laying in bed and I'm like, I know I have extreme adrenal fatigue, but I need to actually try and logically assess my symptoms right now and think of what supplement would go good. And so usually when I do that, I feel the energy of my body, and then I think of supplements or herbs that I know of, and I hold the energy of that. So like when I had my shop, I would hold it in my hand, right? And I would feel the energy of it to my body. But so I don't have the shop. So I'm like picturing it in my head, and I'm seeing the energy. Like, does this resonate with the energy of my body? So I'm going through and I'm like, you know what? This is cortisol. This is not even like just adrenal fatigue. I have an overabundance of cortisol in my body right now. And immediately the supplement Relora popped in my head. And I'm like, is this, I was like, is that, what was that? It's magnolia bark. And so I was like thinking about it. I was like, okay, which brand did we have in the shop? And I was trying to think, I'm like, I know that this is for cortisol. So I like went on Amazon, and I remembered now because it was the orange label. So I went on Amazon, I looked at it, and it says, and it was like, maintain healthy cortisol levels and like appetite suppressant or something like that. I was like, oh yeah. Then I remembered because like I think it was on TV or something, so there was like this big run for women to buy it to like lose weight because it like controlled appetite. That is the opposite for me, because I'll tell you what it actually does. A lot of people emotionally eat, okay? And when their cortisol levels go to normal, they stop emotionally eating. I'm the opposite. I can't eat when I have high cortisol levels, and it was stressing me out even more and giving me more cortisol because I was so concerned about my breast milk that Zion was drinking. I'm like, he's gonna have fucking stress hormones in the breast milk, and now I'm not even eating because I'm so stressed out. So like, what nutrients are in here? He might as well fucking drink water. Like, I was like what the fuck? So that was stressing me out more. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll get my appetite back. Maybe this will work. So I ordered some and I got it. And the first one I took, it felt like I took a fucking Valium. It was so good. Like I just felt everything relax in my body, and like I was able to think again. Out of one fucking pill, I was like, thank God. Look, here I am telling you about feeling your emotions, and I'm like, take the pills. But it's an herb. It's magnolia bark. So if you feel like you're struggling with cortisol levels, so if you like have a high stress environment and you're like really stressed out all of the time, if you wake up in the middle of the night and can't fall back to sleep, if you're extremely exhausted but can't fall asleep, period, like you feel restless when you try to go to bed even though you're exhausted, that's a sign. Also, like if you're gaining weight, around the midsection, specifically for women, that's from cortisol usually. Memory loss issues, that's a cortisol thing for sure. Like short-term memory, like you can't remember anything. And brain fog, major brain fog. So after like a week of taking it, and my cortisol levels went back, or I would say 2 solid weeks of taking it because they were so out of control. Then I finally stopped getting that like Valium effect when I was taking it, because it restored my levels back to normal. I was taking one in the morning and one at night. So the one at nighttime would ensure that I wasn't waking up with high cortisol levels, because when I would wake up in the morning, I would immediately be in fight or flight. And I would be freaking out trying to cook the kids breakfast. Like my heart would be racing. I would be so agitated. And no, I was not drinking coffee, like, because it would make it worse. So I would take one in the morning when I woke up, but I would take one at night so that I wasn't waking up in the morning with high cortisol. And yeah, it's fucking great. I'm still taking it because it's I don't know. I'm not going to stop taking it because I'm getting my memory back and I don't have as bad brain fog anymore. And I'm able to handle, you know, single momhood stresses a lot better. Anyway, wow. I just went on a Laura rant. I guess I'll put a link in the show notes in case anybody needs it. I'll just to, I guess, Amazon or something. So, back to the topic. What was even the topic? See? We can basically what I was saying is that we can create from those states. A huge part of it is to let go of resistance. I don't remember what the train of thought was. I'm gonna have to go back and listen and start recording again. It's all good. It's really, really important. I'm going to say it like this. You can't run. You can't run from suffering. Suffering is a part of your human existence. Like you are here on this earth to suffer. It's not like the point of it, but like you're not going to avoid it. And we try so hard as humans to avoid suffering at all costs. Like we want everything to go our fucking way and for it to be easy. And it's hindering us as a society. Do you understand? Like, you know, women complain all the time there's no manly men anymore. Do you know why? Because nobody wants to fucking suffer anymore. So we create all these things to make life really fucking easy so we don't suffer. And that makes weak men. It makes weak men. Men don't know how to suffer anymore. Because we literally have society set up so that we don't. I don't know many men. I know a couple that like live off the land and go fucking hunt and shit. And like, is it even a soul thing they're doing? I know maybe 2 people like that. I mean, we have a society of soft men because none of us like to suffer, and we've created gadgets to ensure that we don't. Like, proof of it is the fucking supermarket. Now that it's all selling rubber food. Have y'all seen that? All the rubber fruit that's being sold. Yeah, thanks Bill Gates. So things and situations and shit happens in your life. You can take the why me approach. Oh, this is just so bad. Why me? You can take it personal and think that God is focusing on you as if like you're that important. You can blame Saturn again as if a planet knows who the fuck you are, or cares. Out of the billions of people and all of the other planets that exist, you know, he happened to focus in on you on Earth and do this thing. Or you can just accept that like every situation is neutral and it's based on your perception. You can, and you guys, like, there's things that you will go through in your life that you will consider absolute garbage and suffering that other people could go through no problem and not think it's suffering at all. I witness people create anxiety around situations that are not even, it's like trying to make something seem hard because you're so used to things being hard or being, what it boils down to is that you like it. You like when things feel duress or if it feels hard or upsetting. So any little minor mishap that happens or one little thing that isn't going your way, you will turn it into a bigger deal so you can feel those emotions. Mm-hmm. You will totally do it because you actually like it. If you didn't like it, you wouldn't do it. Yeah, I'm arguing with you through a podcast. I hope you're hearing it in your car speakers and surround sound. If you didn't like it, you wouldn't do that. You would do something different. And again, I'll reiterate, and you wouldn't call your friend Josie and talk about it for a fucking hour because you'd hate it. The truth is that you like it and you want to keep experiencing it. So if you take the victimhood out of it and you allow yourself to feel the energies of the situation. So you have something radical happen. Oh my God, I just lost my fucking job. Oh my God, I just lost my fucking husband. Oh my God, like whatever it is. Allow yourself to feel all the emotions. They're totally valid, but allow yourself to fucking feel them. Don't do it with resistance. Stop resisting it. Try it next time. The next time something bad happens, which will probably be in 5 minutes, okay? Allow yourself to go deep and feel the extent of it. Tell yourself it's okay to be sad about this. It's okay to be angry right now. It's okay to be depressed. It's okay to have anxiety. Tell yourself it's okay. It's okay to not be okay right now. Tell yourself that and then feel it. Allow yourself to feel it. It's okay to cry right now. Do it. Cry. Like, allow yourself. You will feel so released and so much relief in your body. It'll be like something you've never experienced before because you've never actually allowed yourself. Like, I feel like as women, it's our responsibility to feel this vastness for the collective and then create something with it. Because that's what we do. That's what we do as women. We create. This matrix that y'all are all trying to exit, why don't you just create it differently? I've gone over this before. The root to the word matrix is matri, which is matriarch, which is the female. It's the divine feminine. You yourself are a walking, living, breathing matrix. Why are you trying to exit out of one? Create your fucking own. You are the one that creates the matrix, especially as a female, because that's what we are here to do. We are the divine feminine. We are the matri. We are the fucking matrix. So what are you creating? What are you, with this energy, this depth that you get to feel? It's a fucking privilege. It's a fucking privilege to be able to go to the depths of emotion that we feel as women. What are you doing with that emotion? What are you turning it into? A panic attack? What is that doing for you? Just, you're like, what are you, like, you can put this into something if you just take your story away from it. And it's hard to take the story away without a spiritual practice, or if you have any type of spiritual awareness, because your ego fucking loves that shit. And I ain't hating on an ego. You know, I'm not no ego hater. I am not. But there's a time and place for the ego, and you can't let it rule your ass, because when you are letting the ego rule, that's when you step out of situational depression and you just have it long term and you let it rule your life. And now, like, you're needing to see doctors and therapists and all that shit. And maybe you do need to be medicated for a little while because it's not that you've gone too deep. It's that you've resisted so that depression can become your identity. Why do you think people put up in their bio all of their, like, have you seen this on TikTok? Yo, it freaks me out. Literally in their bio, it's like ADHD, bipolar, like all these different like diagnoses. Like they literally identify as their diagnosis. That's the most egotistical shit I've ever seen in my life. And I know people like use the word egotistical to to represent or like mean the word like cocky, and it's not. Like I hear people use it like that. It's not like that. Egotistical, it's like it's the identity of separation from the whole, and it like needs this identity to exist. So it tries to separate you. Like I'm different from everybody else because I'm what? Like this term neurodivergent. I swear to God, if I hear this term one more time, I'm sorry if you listen to this and you identify as neurodivergent, but have you ever even looked into how that was created? Like this lady to call somebody neurodivergent, like there's no normal brain. What are you comparing it to? Who has the normal brain? Some fucking 35-year-old white male? Like who has the normal brain? What are you comparing it to? There's like, we are all neurodivergent because we all have different brains. We all do things differently. From what? The fucking corporate structure? Nobody fits into that shit. Unless you're like heavily medicated. Nobody did good in school. Get out of here. We did, but we took Adderall. God, like, come on. It's proof. I'm having too much fun on this podcast. But really, okay, I'm 50 minutes in. So far, I've done a plug for Relora. Now should pay me like $25. I've talked like, at least they all are about emotion, right? It all ties in. You guys get it. But what I want you to walk away from, because I ain't gonna talk for hours on this, you guys. I'm just repeating myself now. I would like you to walk away from this podcast feeling like it's a goddamn privilege to feel the vastness of emotions that were given to us as humans. This is an ability. Like, we have psychic abilities, you have, like, this is like emotional ability. Like, you get to feel, like, as a woman, you get to fucking feel so many emotions. Some of them don't even have names. And you get to feel all of those. But you got to give yourself permission and stop running from it and stop resisting it. We got to take that shit back. We have to take that shit back. We have to stop shunning it and shaming it away and saying like, oh, I shouldn't feel this way. And it's not strong if you cry. And I'm just weak right now because this situation has me so weak and I'm crying all the time. You ain't weak. You're fucking strong. The more emotion you feel, the stronger you are. Why are we equating strength? Who made that up? Who invented that? Tell me. Do you know why you think that? I don't know. Where did it come from? Why do you think emotional void is equal to strength? Probably Big Pharma made it up so they could sell you pills. I'm just guessing, but it sounds right. Because for me, I feel a lot of different emotions throughout the day. And as long as I'm not avoiding them and trying to run from them, they don't rule my life. I feel them very peacefully all day long, and it's a joyous experience for me. Here's a little stress, here's a little anxiety, here's a little bit of sadness, because things happen all day long, right? Like, I don't like being headbutted by a 18-month-old baby and screamed at fucking 6:30 in the morning. That triggers a little something. But even in those moments of stress and like once I allow myself to feel the anger that's going in my body, like, I'd laugh about it and I'm just like, wow, kids, crazy. And I get up and make breakfast, like, oh God, here we go. I'm not gonna cook the bacon right for Malachi. No matter what I do, the bacon's not right, you guys. I don't know. I cook it the same. I cook it different ways, different times. He tells me, oh yeah, I like it this crispy. I never get it right. So that triggers me too. That's why I'm telling you about the bacon. It also triggers me. Oh man, it's fun having kids. Holy shit. If you want to know about the vast depth of emotion, I definitely recommend Children. 10 out of 10 for that. But listen, the next time you feel, situation's not going right and you want to run from that suffering, don't fucking do it. You go meet that suffering. You answer the fucking door for the suffering and you let it come in, okay? Let the suffering come in. And feel the emotions that it brings up in you, because that's part of your shadow too. Stop ignoring that shit. Your life is gonna go way better. Allow yourself to feel it. It's okay. You'll come back out of it because you're gonna allow yourself to feel it. You're not gonna identify with it. You're gonna give yourself a few minutes and allow yourself to feel it, and you'll have peace, and you'll feel the resistance drop in your body, in your shoulders, and you'll feel it, and it'll be over in a couple minutes. And you'll be like, wow, this whole time. Listen, you can't avoid you can't avoid situations that can cause suffering, but you can choose how long you suffer for. And once you start actually getting the hang of this, and I teach a lot about this in the network and stuff, yes, plug for the network. Once you get more advanced in this, like, you'll start recognizing when you're creating your own suffering out of nothing because you're so used to that energy and because you actually like that energy, you know? So, like, you'll start to recognize it in yourself, and you'll start to see where over every little thing, like maybe you're waiting for something in the mail and it didn't come, and so you get all like hot and bothered about it and call Katrina and you talk to her. Katrina, where'd I get that name? You call Katrina and you're like, yeah, they still didn't send me my check, and you bitch about it for 25 minutes, work up that energy. Yeah, because you love feeling it. You know, as much as a society we say we hate feeling emotions, we tend to really love all the negative ones. Yep. And then we got to suck other people into it too. Wow. Think about this. I'm talking on a podcast about how we try to avoid suffering and run from it. Don't want to feel the emotions that come with it. But yet we surely make mountains out of molehills so that we can experience negative emotions. You know what it is? Because it's a controlled environment when we do it ourselves. And so it's less risky. It's less risky because you're like, I'm working up the anger right now, so it's okay. But if like somebody out of nowhere, you know, does something to you to like instigate that out of you, it's like a scary place, right? Because we want to have control at the end of the day. So I guess that's it, guys. Hopefully this all made sense. I rambled a little bit. It's okay. I'm recording this at 11 o'clock at night. But, you know, it's time. It's time, ladies. You got to stop thinking that it's strong to like not be in your emotions, and that you got to stop condemning yourself for being emotional. You got to go into that unconscious mind and see if you have any programming around that, like, you know, we can't be something because we're too emotional. Our too emotional is a gift. It's a fucking gift given to us by the universe. We are here to feel that shit. And ain't nothing more wicked than embracing it and going to the depths and taking it back and saying that it's fucking awesome that we can do this and that it's actually our wicked superpower.
Want to be part of an online community filled with other badass women supporting each other on their wicked journey? Check out my online community, the Wise Woman Network. We have classes, courses, online community meetings, and more. Activate that sleeping goddess within and unleash your divine power. Join me today on a free trial to all my listeners. Link is in the show notes. I'll see you there.